Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with a comparison video between two of the best sets of true wireless earbuds available on the market today. And that is the AirPods Pro and the Jabra Elite 75Ts. Now, both of these have an amazing sound experience. They both have great functionality. They both have the hear-through audio experience, so you can listen to ambient noise that's going on around you. But the question remains, which one of these is the best set of earbuds to buy? And that's what we're going to talk about here today in this video. So before I get into the video, I do want to say that the Jabbers were sent out as review units. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not being compensated in any way, and they're not getting to see this before you are. I bought the AirPods Pro with my own money because these are supposedly some of the best earbuds on the market. I wanted to have them so I could test them against other sets of earphones. And if this is your first time coming to the channel, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button. And if you want updates and notifications for the latest videos, hit that little bell down the bottom so you can get notifications for that. Now, let's talk about the earphones. All right, so the first ones I want to talk about are the AirPods Pro. So these just came out a couple of months ago. They're the successor. Not really the successor. They're just the upgraded model for the regular AirPods. They finally decided in the year 2019 they were going to add some ear tips. So you have 3 sets of ear tips that you can choose from now, and they're very important because they help out with the active noise cancellation. Now, the active noise cancellation on these is utterly fantastic. It blocks out all the noise from the outside world. You can't hear anything other than what's going on inside your earbuds, whether that's listening to an audiobook or listening to your music or YouTube podcast, whatever. Fantastic. It also has transparency mode. Now, transparency mode is they've got 2 special microphones that pick up the noise on the outside world. They filter out, process it through, so you can listen to your music and you can still hear what's going on around you. You can even hold a conversation with somebody if you turn the volume down low enough, or you can hear stuff like traffic and things like that while you're walking around. One thing about it, though, is it's dependent on volume. You can't go and adjust the strength of the transparency mode on its own. It's solely dependent on how loud the volume is on your earbuds. Now, these don't have a special equalizer that you can control. There's no presets. It has what's called an adaptive equalizer. So what it uses, there's 2 microphones on the inside, and what they do is they work based off of the shape of your ear to adjust the lows and the mids so you get a better all-around sound experience. The caveat to that, though, is it only works in active noise cancellation mode. It doesn't work when you turn it off. So if you're not listening to noise cancellation mode, you're going to have a drop off in the overall sound experience just because it turns off that adaptive equalizer. Now, these get about 5 hours of listening time with active noise cancellation off. They get about 4.5 hours of time with active noise cancellation on. You get a total of 19 extra hours on the charging case for a total of right about 24 hours. Now, they're not the fastest charging in the world. It still works good though. You get 5 minutes on the charger, you get an hour of playtime. So, I mean, it's still relatively decent. But one nice thing is that the case has built-in wireless charging. So you can plop this down on the case, down on a wireless charger, and you can charge it that way in addition to using the lightning charger. Now, these, one nice thing about them is they're so convenient and easy to pair with your iPhone. All you have to do, you pop the lid open, these things activate, and then you get a pop-up on your phone. It works so nice, or your tablet, whatever Apple device you're going to pair them to. Now, the other thing about these is that you have IPX4 water resistance, which is okay. It's just kind of like splash resistance. This isn't like the IPX7 where you can take them underwater for like half an hour. So be careful with these. Don't take them in the shower. Don't take them to the pool. But if you want to go out for a jog and it happens to start raining on you, or you get extra sweaty while you're in the gym, they work just fine. Now, another nice thing is they work independently of each other. So if you have one in one ear, or you have both of them in, you take the one in your right ear out, the left one will still work. If you take the left one out, the right one will still work. And another great feature I really love about these, they have these sensors built in. So when you take them out of your ear, they automatically pause whatever you're doing, which is really nice. And then when you put the earbud back in, it starts playing again. And that's kind of a leg up on a lot of other earphones that I've been listening to lately. A lot of the other ones, some of the nicer, expensive ones will stop playing when you take it out of your ear, but they won't start playing again once you put it back in your ear. So it's very nice. They have the active microphone on these. So anytime you're listening to these, the microphone's always listening. So if you say, "Hey Siri," you can go ahead and interact with your voice assistant, which is nice. And that's also something that Apple offers with their AirPods, especially the AirPod Pros, that a lot of the other different brands don't offer. Now, these don't have aptX or aptX support, but I wouldn't really expect them to because the iPhone doesn't support aptX, which means you really get the best experience out of these listening to an iPhone because they do have AAC support. So that is something that Apple supports, and you do get better sound that way. So if your other phone doesn't support AAC, then it's not going to sound as good if you're using these. But overall, the sound experience is good. It's very good. My only holdup with these is it just doesn't have $250 worth of sound quality. Now, it does have $250 worth of sound quality and features, and that combined is really what makes the total package for these. It works nice. The little stems, you squeeze them so you can turn on your noise cancellation, you can turn on transparency mode, all that good stuff. Now, you still can't adjust the volume by using the earbuds, which is a little on the irritating side, but it's not the end of the world because you can easily do it from your phone. But overall, they have increased bass, they've got increased power, the overall sound experience, got a great sound stage. It's more complete. It's just not as bright or as sharp or as finely tuned as some of the other earphones I've listened to lately. So, in my top five earphones that I've listened to over the $100 range in the last year, these kind of are in like the 3 or 4 category, maybe a little lower. It's just not that great. Now, they sound very good, and in fact, they do have a great sound. They just don't have excellent sound. But where they make up for that is the seamless functionality, the incorporation into the Apple ecosphere if you have other Apple products, and it all just works so well together. And then, hands down, the best pass through noise audio system that I've heard so far, and the noise isolation, in my opinion, is second to none. So that's the Apple AirPods Pro, 250 bucks, a great total package. Now let's move on and take a look at the Jabra Elite 75Ts. All right, so here we are with the Jabra Elite 75Ts. Now, I really like the word elite because I've listened to quite a few earbuds here this last year, not just 2020, but 2019 as well, including the AirPods Pro, the Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros, some other ones, and these, hands down, have the best quality audio that I've listened to. And I think it all boils down to the internal hardware and the quality of the components and the product itself. It just sounds good. It's crisp, it's clear, the bass, it hits, it has good resonation, and overall, the depth and the volume and the clarity, top notch. Now, these you get about 7.5 hours of listening time. You get an additional 3 charges, so you get up to 28 hours of listening time. So that's pretty darn good. Now, it is a little slower on the quick charge side. You have to charge them for 15 minutes to get an hour of listening time. So, thankfully, you've got plenty of charges in here, and 7.5 hours is plenty of listening time. It's definitely several hours ahead of the AirPods. Now, one thing that I really, really like about these is that they have a global equalizer. So the equalizer you can set up, you can save it, you can adjust the 5 different bands on there for the different hertz, for the bass, the mids, and the treble, so you can listen to it how you want. There's also some presets. And then if you want to go another step farther, they have this great ambient noise mode where they have these different simulated sounds like rustling brooks, um, outside noises, things like that, white noise, pink noise, different things where you can just kind of lay down, relax, enjoy like a Zen mode type experience for a good 10 or 15 minutes. Now, where these are not as competitive is they don't have active noise cancellation. That being said, and I think this is a consensus between several other people I've talked to, these have such good sound isolation. They have passive noise cancellation. All it is fancy words for saying that they've got a great fit, and the sound, it really seals up and it doesn't escape, so you don't really hear a lot of what's going on the outside. Now, that other stuff like the low drum of like a fan or an airplane, that's where you're going to notice it if it comes to active noise cancellation, because the AirPod Pros suppress that. But these, totally good. The noise isolation is really good. So even if you don't have to turn these all the way up to cut out the outside world. Now, what you also have with these that is a leg up over the AirPods Pro is the hear through audio. And what that does, it's the same as the transparency mode on the iPhone where you can hear what's going on around you, but you can use the little sliding bar within the app to adjust the strength. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. So if you want to listen to your music a little bit louder, you can turn that scale up a little bit higher to where it gives you more strength in pulling in the outside noise. But still, regardless of whether you use these or the AirPods Pro, if your volume's over about halfway up, you're really not going to be able to have much interaction with another human being. But you can still hear things like cars passing by, honking, traffic, things like that. So you still maintain your situational awareness and your safety, but you can still listen to your music. And one other thing I want to say is the AirPods Pro, you can do the Find My AirPod feature. So if you lose one of them, you can go into the menu and you can use that to try and find your AirPod. Now, the Jabra 75Ts also have a Find My Earbuds feature. Really easy. All you have to do is just go into the app, go to the second tab, and then you can find where the last known location was. And it registers that whenever you disconnect your earbuds, that's whenever it makes a little spot on the map for this was the last place they were connected. Now, with the AirPods, you have a 1 year warranty, which is good, and you can also pay for Apple Care on top of that. Jabra doesn't really have anything like Apple Care, but it does. You do have a 2 year warranty. You have to register for it through the app, but of course you need to use the app because the app is how you set everything up. And you also get firmware updates. So the firmware updates allow them to change and tune and update things as they see necessary, or sometimes even add new features. So the software updates are key with this, and you get those with the AirPods as well. So that one, we'll call it a wash, but 2 years is good. And then you also have, in addition to the 2 years, you have IP55 dust and water resistance. Now, the AirPods are rated IPX4. The X stands for what would normally be dust resistance, and it doesn't rate that, but it does have the IPX4. These have IP55. So the 5 stands for the dust resistance. They're pretty well sealed up. Dust is not really a factor with them. And then the other 5 is IPX5, water resistance. So you get slightly better water resistance with these than you do with the AirPods Pro. Now, another thing is these are only $179 versus $250. So there is some significant ground that can be made up there. These don't have a squeeze feature. They have a touch button on them. It's not a capacitive tile. You have to push the button. But the nice thing about it is the button works so well, it doesn't really push into your ear whenever you activate it. So it works really good. And then if you want to turn on hear through mode, you just push on the left one time and that'll activate it. And you can activate it through the app as well. All right, last but not least, the Jabras, they don't have aptX support, which, I mean, it leaves them on par with the AirPods Pro, but these are not an Apple product. They're made by Jabra. $179 price point, I would kind of expect them to have the aptX support. So, would be nice, not there. Now, the other thing is this case does not support wireless charging, whereas the AirPods Pro case does support wireless charging. However, there is a case that you can buy just similar to the original AirPods that enables wireless charging. So you can do that, but this case out of the box does not. And the last but not least, these do not work independently. Now, if you are listening to both of them at the same time and you take the left one out, the right one will still work. But if you take the right one out and leave the left one in, the left one loses its connection. It requires the right one to be able to make that connection. So they are saying that's something that's going to be addressed with the software update in the future through the firmware, but currently you can't listen to them independently, whereas with the AirPods you can. However, that doesn't take away from the totally fantastic sound experience that they have, the battery life, the EQ that's in there, and then of course the adjustable audio on the hear through. So fantastic package, great audio, and a big fan of these 75Ts. All right, so that's all I've got on my comparison between the AirPods Pro and the Jabra Elite 75Ts. They're both very, very good. They're both great products. They have great sound experiences. But overall, I have to say that the Jabra Elite 75Ts, that elite word, that verbiage really rings true, and you get a better overall sound experience. It's more clear, it's more bright, and across the sound spectrum, you really get a great audio experience. Now these, they sound good. The transparency mode I'd say is slightly better than it is on here. And then the active noise cancellation is really nice too. But then again, remember, you lose out on the adaptive EQ if you're not listening to it with the active noise cancellation. And then 7.5 hours versus 4.5 to 7 hours of listening time. So there are their pros and their cons based off of functionality. But overall, I have to give it to the Jabra Elite 75Ts. The ability to scale that hear through audio up and down is really nice. The equalizer setting is really nice, and the overall sound experience, I believe, is better. So that's all I have on my comparison review between the AirPods Pro and the Jabra Elite 75Ts. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll get back with you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, like I said in the beginning, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you get updates on the latest and greatest. And I'll see you guys next time.